Go district. Bleed, I ball. Bleed, I ball. Bleed, I ball. Bleed, ball. And I bleed, I ball. Bleed, I ball. It's the Go district, y'all. I ball, cause I bleed. Hey, bleeding, I ball. Defeated the odds, didn't see him at all. JD in the pods, I needed it all. I bleeded a lie, you bleeded a lie, nah, I bleeded a lie. And that's what I go do. Facts, let me show you. Happen to know dudes. Drafting, they don't do bad and they don't lose. Make you wanna bleed. It's the Go District, boys giving you the business and no gimmicks. The best ball drafts got me feeling like it's Christmas. Then it's Christmas all of a sudden and these riches came from nothing. And I got this all from loving the district. See, I just drafted, forget it. I laugh at the critics, they mad at the digits. I clap back by listening. See, BALLiN ain't a problem if you kick it with them off. And I refresh the feed till autumn, then I bleed, go.
Good morning, Fantasyland. I've always wanted to do that. How are you?
What's going on, JD?
So we were very motivated, and one thing I find in Fantasyland is what your plan is and what you have in your head and the ideas you come up with. You only get to play with about like 2-3% of them just because of time and real world. And our plan for this was to do a video per pick. Real life gets in the way. We, weren't able to make it happen. So we're going to drop these as frequently as we can through this draft. Right now, we're in the 7th round. I'll pass it to you, Andrew. Give us a quick update. Oh, sorry. Did I screw that up? Was I supposed to?
No, we lost a pick in the 2nd round, which is we're going to do a thing per pick. And then here we are on the 7th round. Before we talk about the draft, just wanted to, there's another Toronto-based podcast guest, or I guess he's in Atlanta now. Anyways, I don't know, J.E. Skeets. So it actually works with the JD theme. He always opens his podcast with Good Morning, Sweet World. So I thought out of nowhere you're going to hit everyone with a Good Morning, Sweet World, and I was going to just lose my mind over here. So anyways, I like the intro that you're trying out there. That was a good one. So housekeeping. We last did a pick at the 209. I think if I can reframe that, right, we were between DeAndre Hopkins and DK Metcalf. We ultimately go DK Metcalf, right? And what we did was we looked at the Fantasy Mojo Stack Finder. We saw the number of Ezekiel Elliott and Hopkins teams, and that was about 10% of the tournament. And then I said, "Oh, JD, let me show you the Stack Finder. I know how to work it. Like it's literally on tape because I know how to work this thing. I got it. I'm a genius." Look, I lied, guys. I didn't. I was halfway scrolled and didn't scroll all the way to the top. At the time, I said there were 6 Ezekiel Elliott, DK Metcalf teams. By the time we took him, it was prior to when we took him, it was 11. We made the 12th Ezekiel Elliott, DK Metcalf, and as we stand recording today, there are 13 Ezekiel Elliott, DK Metcalf teams, which is still about only 3% of the tournament. So it still feels pretty good versus the 10% of the Zeke Hopkins, but did at least want to housekeep some of the lying that I did on the last pod. So anyway, that's where we stand, JD.
I'm pretty sure I had put you on the spot there to pull that info, so don't even worry about it. The fact that you can read that thing, like I love the Mojo site, but that's the one thing that I pull up. It's like some stuff on RotoViz. Some stuff on RotoViz, I swear it took me like 2 seasons to figure out, oh yeah, this is how you use this, And that one is the one that just, like I said, maybe you can give me a lesson next time we get a chance. But
I just need to learn how to scroll. I think I have everything down aside from the scroll button.
So before we get into our roster, I'm just like anything stand off the page because I just realized I'm looking in the 6th spot. Golden Rule, Tyreek Hill, George Kittle. Then he just hammers McLaurin, DJ Moore, Higgins, Judy, Anderson. Is that you in disguise?
Can I be honest? That looks like an Andrew draft. I don't know if I'm that big of a zealot. I probably would have taken one of these infamous detours along the way to maybe get a quarterback there or maybe a running back. But I think if you're going to do this, I definitely don't mind it. Again, you're in a tournament. I think he got pretty good values on all those wide receivers. Yeah. We'll talk about, I love to see 5th round T Higgins. If I'm in the draft, I like what they've done so far. I think on the opposite end, team 5 right next to us, that looks like the complete opposite of a Shelley draft. 5 running backs through 6. and only one wide receiver through 7.
And it looks good now, a team like that. Like I'm looking at it and I'm like, yeah, I can work with that. But
Yeah.
I'm curious to see as we go through if he's able to sustain, a wide receiver core that can follow what he's built. Because that's a lot of time that's where the wheels fall off. Is you think, oh, it's deep at receiver. I'm gonna load up at running backs. The good thing for him is 4 of those guys can start. So he's got basically 4 and an extra, which is kind of what you do with receiver when you want to dominate at that position, right? So that you're always dominating the flex. But I like both of these approaches. Like I said, I have a feeling that 6 might look better as we get into the deeper rounds and he's picking off, value running backs that, let's face it, there's a lot of them down there that are one injury away or, a couple fumbles away from being very significant. So you see 2 different builds there in team 5 and team 6, which is very interesting. And that's what I love about best ball, right?
And JD, no, totally agree. I actually want to give credit to 1 too. Team 1 as well. I like the McCaffrey and then just hammering the wide receivers too with the Kyler Murray pick interspersed to stack with Hopkins. So I love that. And again, not to make inside jokes at what my Dynasty Hardway team looks like, but I think that that's basically my wide receiver crew. I think I have got the AJ Brown, Sutton, and Galladay. So even with the 6th round, 7th round wide receivers, I like both of those guys, even though they're kind of falling down the draft boards. I still think that they're reasonable bets, especially as your wide receiver 5, wide receiver, 4 and 5 in this case.
Agreed. And I mean, we're not seeing anybody go too crazy with tight ends. We're going to touch on tight ends because we fumbled the ball a bit, I think, in the 6th round.
It's okay to say that. I think, yeah. But we'll talk
and that's fine. Look, the reason we wanted to do this is like we said before we came on, if we do this thing perfectly, then there's less to talk about and we just sit here patting ourselves on the back and that helps no one, right? That, in my opinion, just helps no one. When I watch, shows like that, I'm just like, okay, just next.
Congratulations, you guys! Made the right choices all the way along. How boring!
And my favorite thing about best balls is to look at the boards and say like where it was my mistake, and I want to find at least one in every draft. And look, maybe to some people it's not a mistake, right? What we did. Right. So just the discussion, I think, is very beneficial to everyone. So far, just for those who. I don't know if we're going to do this in audio or not, but anyways, just to give a little idea of what our team looks like now. We were in the 104. We took Zeke, we took DK Metcalf, we took CeeDee Lamb, Tyler Lockett, came back with Dak to stack. Excuse the ridiculous pun. Is that I don't even know.
You got to go Dak stack and just
the Dak stack. Okay, yeah. And that's where if I'm looking at this roster, I would make the first change. With what we did, and maybe we can just go there, and then just after Dak, we went to 2 tight ends.
Well, let's compliment ourselves first. I don't want to spend too much time, but on the second pick podcast, I think that we kind of left it with, boy, it'd be great to get Lamb. The draft wrapped so quickly, JD. By the time we woke up in the morning, we had CeeDee Lamb waiting for it. I think that you messaged, hey, we're 1 pick away from Lamb. I think then I woke up to play basketball at like 4 a.m. I'm not a finely tuned athlete, but it's fine. I text you 2 simple emojis, the CD emoji and then the little like sheep/lamb emoji. And that was enough. So we that's the whole reason we didn't record is like, CeeDee Lamb's just a slam pick. We'll get it in and then we'll find some time to record on Friday. Of course we didn't. I thought that was a slam dunk pick. I want to talk a little bit about Tyler Lockett before we go to Dak. You texted Lockett, and I think Lockett is the right pick there. Of course, I did text you back almost immediately. What about Higgins? Now, I was walked off. Higgins. I like Lockett a lot. I'll just say before we get into Dak, because I think it kind of leads into some of the mindset about like these like 2v2 game that we can play, or even 3v3 game. I thought one benefit of Lockett was you really open up both a Russell Wilson path and a Dak Prescott path. So ultimately liked Tyler Lockett there. So I think that then we can move to the Dak Prescott pick, but just at least wanted to set the stage for, one benefit of going Lockett in addition to DK is you've set up either a Seahawks path or a Cowboys path. So I don't know if you have anything to add there, JD, or any other thoughts about.
Yeah, no, that's exactly it. And I love our first 4 picks. Like I love that. I love that team. And I'm not saying I don't like our team now. I'm just saying like we had a plan, I think, that we both agreed on as we discussed it, and it came to fruition. T. Higgins, one of my favorite wide receivers that I own in Dynasty, that I own in Best Ball. The thing is, again, I'm trying to differentiate, but to me, like those first 4 are so strong.
Yep, agree.
Having those 4, and like you said, as we're drafting, I'm always looking at ways to open up the possibility of stacks later on. I'm not like reaching or going uncomfortably to do that. I still let it organically happen as the draft falls, but it helps me make decisions, especially if I'm deciding between 2 guys and it's super close. And I think, okay, well, this guy's quarterback is like, whoever, Josh Allen. So he's already gone. And then you got to figure out like, how am I going to play this later on in the draft? Because later on, when you're like in the 10th and further, you're kind of matching those picks to what you've already built, right? Whether that's with bye weeks, whether it's position, however you approach those decisions. So I think Lockett is the right move here. Higgins is not a bad move as your 3rd receiver. Amazing. In his 2nd year, a guy who flashed the way he did. And I think like for me, these type of offenses like Cincinnati, where there's question marks with Burrow, those are the ones you want to take advantage of. Are you getting Higgins in the 4th round if Burrow is out there launching 10 touchdowns in preseason? No. Probably not. He's probably already flown up the draft boards. And he's probably going ahead of Woods at that point.
I was just going to say he's probably at that 311 pick.
Yeah,
like exactly. Guaranteed. Yeah,
exactly. So for me, I think with what we had and what we had planned, like you said, we take Lockett there. Now you have 2 really strong possibilities. The mistake, if we want to call it that, where I would have gone differently, like, and this is what I was telling you, like weekdays are beautiful. We just said that because we're both kind of sitting in our offices. We have the advantage of the screens, and you can look at everything big picture and really, strategize. Whereas we were literally on our phones, like dealing with our kids, like that's basically how we're making these. So my only thing is, instead of taking Dak there, and especially the fact that we took him and right after that Schefter, news came out that it was probably going to linger his injury. It just makes sense. The value is in Russell Wilson there. And Russell Wilson, in my opinion, has just as much as a chance. And these are the things that I'm going through in my brain to be a top, even the top quarterback in the NFL by the end of the season. So just, you're looking at Russell, he goes 2 rounds later. Even if we waited 1 more round and we had taken
well, let me throw it back out there. T Higgins,
almost
play the game, right? We take T Higgins instead of Dak, and then we still have that opportunity to get Russell Wilson in the 6th round.
Oh my God, did we pass on Higgins for Dak?
Yeah.
Oh my God, now I'm upset.
That's why we passed on
Higgins
twice.
This is what I'm talking about. That's the mistake. That's 100. Look at that's what you were saying to me, and I couldn't understand what you were saying.
That's what I was trying to tell you.
I completely missed that. How do you let me take Dak there? Come on.
I don't know.
Twice you let us pass. No, that's a mistake. I'll take that. That's on me, man. No. I totally missed that.
This is so funny that we're having this conversation. This is the problem. We should have just recorded, no matter how what we were doing. Should have just like grabbed our phone down.
Everything. Yeah.
No. I mean that's the game that I was playing with myself, right?
I like that. That would have been really good.
Sounds weird, but yeah. No, I mean take Higgins instead of Dak, and then that way in the 6th round you get Russell Wilson.
Yeah, Russell Wilson. Oh, that would have been so beautiful right now.
I mean, I think that's the play. And look what I mean. The game you have to play with yourself, right? Is if you miss Dak, if you miss Russell coming back in the 6th round, I don't think you have to stack in order to ship it, because we've already got, call it naked stacks. If we've already got a Zeke Lamb, we've already got DK Lockett. We don't necessarily need the quarterback. Now it's a beautiful cherry on the top. And that's where I was thinking, and we'll talk about hey, since we already have Dak on the board, should we go get crazy with it? I want to talk about that in a second, because I think you talked me off a good thing there. But I was just thinking, you've already got the exposure to the teams without needing the quarterback. What if we went T Higgins instead of Dak? Could we still have had a shot at either Dak or Russell? Now, I don't think Dak would have come back. And as it turns out, Russell Wilson almost came back to us a third time there in the 7th, but obviously was taking one pick before. So anyways, I do think that I was happy with Dak in the moment because I thought we were just completely off of T, and that's just bad team communication on my part. But I think that T would have been should have been the smash pick there.
100%.
If we can critique anything.
100%. 100%. Our team looks so much better there. I mean, look, I'm not saying we lost. Like I don't give up till the last pick.
Are we the rake? No,
we're still going to work with it. Hopefully not, but we're still, it's like, what's that? If you can't spot the sucker in the room. But you know what? I will point there's a couple things I want to touch on. One is you talked about naked stacks. So if you don't have the quarterback, yes, Josh Larkey tells us the benefits of tying the quarterback with the receivers and how much more benefit that gives you versus having two different guys. However, if you can't, like you said, if you can't hit those stacks and you're not, you didn't reach, the guy went a pick ahead or whatever it is, there's still a benefit because there's still you telling a story that offense is going to do really well. So if that's the case, like why would, Metcalf do really well and Lockett not? Injuries aside, right? You're saying Metcalf number 2, okay, this passing game is going to be really good. So I get what you're saying. You open up the stacks, maybe you don't get them. You like that's not a loss. You're still you're still telling that story, and it totally makes sense. We had, the Dallas offense, the Seattle offense, and look, for sure, we both agree. Higgins was the move there. If we had been able to communicate and get on and talk it out, it probably would have been super easy. It was probably a case where you and I were super tied up, and we were just okay. We both see Dak here. We both agree. Let's just take him. But look, it's like we said. This is the beauty of this is we get to talk about it now. And that's the other people can kind of, hopefully learn from it.
Yeah. And I think, So anyways, we agree. Terrible communication there on both parties, but we did mention, I think what we got stuck in our heads, or at least in my head, was the Dak pairing of the CD and the Zeke.
That was a huge motivation
with our current structure, right? Because I think I was trying to continue to feed you these, and it almost made it seem like, Dak was the obvious play, without us having further communicated about it. Anyways, we can move on there.
No, but listen, we talked about that last show, and we both agreed, right? So these are all things that we had a plan, and it goes to show, you have to always, even if you plan, and this is why I hate the setting up your auto pick sometimes.
Never.
I hate that. I hate that. I want to know exactly who's where when I'm making my pick. I don't want to say, okay, I'm taking this guy no matter what, because for example, maybe the circumstance is different and we were tied up, but let's say we had just came on and said, oh, look at that. We got our guy. Our plan worked perfect. And then you turn around and you're like, oh shit, we should have taken Higgins. Right. So it's the same thing. Just, again,
JD, can we take that detour just slightly on best ball etiquette or drafting etiquette? Whenever somebody tells me to remember, pre-draft my pick, I will make a commitment that I will never pre-draft a pick.
Same.
1, I like the board comment. And then 2, just more psychological. I just love smashing the draft button. I couldn't imagine just a pick being made for me. I must hit draft. Must.
This might not be a popular thing, and I don't do this on purpose, but there's a reason they're called slow drafts, people. They're called slow drafts because not everyone is just 24/7 at a laptop or on their phone doing fantasy. I'm sorry, as much as I'd love to, if we did, Andrew and I could probably just do this full time, and bring you guys content 24/7. But that's not the case. We have careers, we have families, so it's going to get in the way, right? And that's a reality of it. But for me, there's an 8-hour clock, or there's a 6-hour clock, or 4-hour clock, or whatever. That when you sign up for the draft, don't hate on people because they're taking up the clock. The fishbowl is a perfect example. People get so mad, and it's enjoy it. Why are you in such a rush? That's the other thing I don't get. Why would you want something that you enjoy doing to end quickly? I don't understand. What are you rushing to get through your best ball for? What? You don't even get to set lineups or do trades. Why are you rushing? Anyways, this is a Sunday morning rant.
That's good. This is our outlet to yell about this, drafting etiquette, instead of being even more upset about the Dak T. So we've just given our outlet. So let's go to the 6th round, because I texted you as the wide receivers were flying off the board. So there's 6, 7 here in a row in the 6th round. I think I texted you 2 picks to glory because I had an off the wall idea that was ultimately shot down. So we can talk about that of like, oh my gosh, I think that we're going to have an opportunity to do something really strange. We get on the clock, my guy's up. I say, hey, there's what? I have one option and one option only for you. And of course we don't go that option, but I'm like, we're going to go Russell, hustle and bustle made of man, Russell Wilson for our double stack. Now, I think you would meet within like seconds, like, no, can't do two quarterbacks. But anyways, we can talk about that. That was more of like a, hey, if we're already going to be off the wall, what that would have done for us is we would have through 6 picks. We'd have 3 Seahawks and 3 Cowboys, and nobody on Twitter could ever accuse us of not understanding stacking. Like you can, sometimes people use pairing and stacking interchangeably. Sometimes, people really get, up in arms about the correct terminology. Through 6 picks, nobody would be able to argue that if we put out there that we had a Cowboys and Seahawks double stack, nobody would be able to dump on that. So anyways, that's bad structure, but wanted to get your thoughts on my totally off the wall idea to be all in on the double stack.
Yeah, we were definitely on brand with the hashtag always be trading or always be stacking. But so as soon as you said that to me, I mean, for me, that's a no-no. And, not to hate on team number 3 here and what they're doing, but like taking a quarterback early is already kind of pushing the whole, like, okay, I get like, some people are like, oh, drafting for value, like whatever, but in 7 picks in a 1 quarterback league, if you take Mahomes and Russell Wilson, that is a waste in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because you can probably get the same result by having Mahomes and Fitzpatrick or Darnold, because you really only need 1 week, maybe 2 or 3. Like, you never assume injuries when you're drafting best ball. That's like, for me, that's how you draft.
Yeah.
The only time you're assuming injury is in the late rounds when you think, okay, if an injury happens, who would benefit? But in the early rounds, you're never drafted. And that's why I hate handcuffs. Like, because if you draft a handcuff for a guy you drafted in round 2 or 3, you're already assuming he's not giving you the full value that you drafted him for. Yeah. Right. So for me, when you said that, I mean, I love the artistry. I can't even say that word right now, but what I'm trying to think.
Viewpoint here.
Yeah. Like, just again, I always say like these draft boards are like art, right? Like there's an art to these rosters, and aesthetically, it would look fantastic to have Dak and Russell with the stacks we had, but it would be a waste for me.
Yep.
And that's why I said, go ask Dan and Theo, just so that they can back up what I didn't even need to talk to them. I'm just thinking they'll probably tell them the same thing I said. Yeah. So that's the reason I kind of backed off the.
That makes sense. So before we talk about who we picked, I want to talk about, you mentioned it. So 703, 1 pick before our 7th round pick, Russell Wilson gets taken. Do you think, what's the percentage chances that person was defensive drafting and just said, I'm not going to let these Cowboys Seahawks guys have have their second opportunity at drafting Russell? Do you think that that's one reason?
Either way, it's the same mistake. He's making the same mistake, because now he's assuming we would take 2 quarterbacks at that point. Okay,
all right.
And you know what? And if that is the case, it just backs up my philosophy. I don't draft for other people's I draft my roster. I don't really care what people are doing around me. Like, I literally don't. And it doesn't matter what draft I'm in. That's just how I've always drafted. I love to watch boards and watch different, and I you get an idea what guys are doing, but my decisions are made based on my roster, period.
Yeah. I only made that joke because he did stack stack with Kelsey, Edwards-Helaire, and Mahomes, and then him going the second early quarterback. Obviously, since we have DK and Lockett on the board, there was no benefit to any pairing or stacking.
Yeah, like, to me, you just killed the benefit that you got from that triple stack. Yeah, like you got what you wanted. Why are you destroying it now with Russell Wilson?
Yep. Yeah. Hey, so team 3, bad pick. No, I'll just say, okay. So I threw out the Russell Bustle, but then we had one other tight end name on the board, and we don't go that tight end. Do you want to talk about kind of like where we landed on tight ends and kind of what we were thinking through in that 6th pick?
Yeah, like, so, and we both like the same tight end, which is Logan Thomas. I can't remember who we had on. It was Dwayne McFarland or one of these, like, super sharp, super successful fantasy players. Were really big on Logan Thomas, saying he could be, the Waller of 2021. And I mean, I'm all over Logan Thomas. He, like I keep saying on our show, he won me a big league last year, just in a league where I lost Kittle. I made a big move for Kittle in the offseason and obviously lost him. But because I made a move for Logan, it filled that gap for me, and I ended up taking it down. But the issue that we have there was the bye weeks.
Yep.
And the reason I brought this up is he's got what, 9, right?
I think so. Yeah, 9. Yep.
So when you're not trying to fill bye weeks by the 7th round or the 6th round. You're still trying to build, kind of your starting, your possible starters. So for me, if you go Logan Thomas there, you already have 2 of your starting receivers, like your top guys that are off on week 9. So now your tight end 1 is off in week 9. Even if you pick up, let's say, a tight end close after that outperforms during that week and Logan Thomas falls into your flex, that possibility is gone, right? Because you've already got it just kills your starting lineup. Does that make sense? Like, I don't know if I'm making sense, or I don't know if you understand it better and you can explain it better. But you take Logan Thomas there, and now you've got your 2 of your top 3 receivers and your tight end 1 off in week 9. So now in week 9, you've got Zeke, Lamb, right? Yeah, and then it's like your bottom guys.
We got to make sure that
you want maybe one of your top guys out, 2 max, in my opinion, per week. And look, some people might argue that. And if you're listening right now, please, in the comments, we are here to learn just like you guys are, right? That's the whole purpose of this. But in my opinion, I'm trying to get as many of these studs in my starting lineup in as many weeks as I can. Maybe that's the easy way to explain it. Yep. And I went like this, as my dad would say. To like scratch my ear, I
like it.
But yeah, does that make sense?
Yes, I think so. So first of all, definitely from a bye week perspective, I think the other thing though that we noticed while we were on, before we get to who we took, and of course, if you're watching on YouTube, you can already see it. But the other question was, man, we had 3 or 4 actually 4, because one of the tight ends is not off the board yet. 4 tight ends that we liked. Should we have gone wide receiver?
100%. That was the first mistake that I saw in this draft. Like the Dak, now that I saw Higgins, I'm like, oh, you just shocked me on air. But to me, that's and I told you right away when I came into my office, put on the board, and I was like, oh, how did I not see that? Because again, I was on my phone. I wasn't really looking at the draft board. That's the mistake. When you have 4 guys, when you're close to a turn like this, close to an end, that's one of the things that I like about close to an end. And when you're in the middle, for you to assume a guy's going to fall back to you when you only have a couple, it's hard. The chances are a lot slimmer. But because we're in the 4 spot and there's 4 tight ends and 2 of the teams beside us already have their first tight end, it's almost a given that we're going to get, if not all these guys back, 2 or 3 of them.
We got 3 of the 4 tight ends back to us.
3 of the 4 back. And not only that, but we took probably the lowest. If you and I looked at rankings, we probably took the lowest guy in our rankings. And again, it just came back to like looking at bye weeks. And
not to interrupt, but maybe 5. Higbee, Thomas, Tanyan, Goddard, and Smith.
Yes, Goddard. I did throw Goddard on there as well. At one point I was thinking he would be a good one. But the point is, if you're looking at a position and you see all these guys and you can't decide, you go to another position. And you're like, hey, is there a better guy or guy that I can take here at another position where I'm not liking as many guys? And now you get to pick when it comes back to you. And maybe the decision's made. Maybe 3 of the 4 go, and now the last guy falls to you. That's even better. You don't even have to make the decision. You might end up with the same guy you would have taken.
Yeah. Yep.
And that's probably what would have happened to us. We could have taken. So let's see who got taken there. Sutton. I don't know.
I think I threw out Robbie to you a couple times. I think that you're generally out on Robbie, which we don't need to go crazy with. But I think that if you were out on Robbie, I would have been pushing hard for Kenny Golladay. I like Kenny Golladay, and I think his upside is still there. I'm not saying it's a Diggs situation at all. I don't think he's as good as Diggs, and I don't think that Daniel Jones is as good as Josh Allen, but I think that there's some, like, his downside risk is already really baked into his ADP, where like he's being drafted in the wide receiver 30, but I think that he's already shown that he can have wide receiver, top, 10, maybe like top like 6 through 10 upside. So I would have said Golladay.
I love those against the grain guys. And that's I think the whole Diggs thing, I don't think people are like he's going to be Diggs. I think it's just the feeling of last offseason. I had Diggs in a few spots, and it was just that feeling that nobody was really excited about him. You know what I mean? Going to Buffalo. And I think that's the situation here with Golladay. what is he going to do out there in New York? It's not like that team is great to begin with, and Daniel Jones is so there's a lot of questions there. But then again, like, how many of these guys in the 7th round are the number 1 receiver on their roster and have the, have that upside? And that's something I think we talked about.
Monster down the field.
Exactly. I mean, you're looking at, you're deciding between Robbie Anderson, who's like probably he could easily be the 3rd. He is the 3rd target, but probably could by the end of the season be the 3rd receiver on that team. Let's say if Marshall really performs like the GOAT district.
Yeah.
I hope it does. But no, I think Galladay is actually, I would have liked that. Let's say we take Galladay there, and then whether Tanyan, Higbee, or even Fant, someone falls to us.
6 tight ends. Yeah.
And to be honest, Fant is probably the one that I wish we had taken.
Yeah.
Because I do think he's got the highest upside out of all these guys. Him and Thomas, for me, are pretty close. Yeah. And then the only thing that kind of keeping him, like you see, he's not even taken yet. And that's just because of the quarterback question.
Yep. So let's play the 3v3 game, because we did come back with Tanyan. So I think that if we can call it out, right, which is our least coordinated 3 picks, which are our last 3 picks. Right. Dak, Higbee, Tanyan. Would you rather have Higbee, Russell Bussell, and Tanyan again, or Fant, or like, I mean, I really think that those are the spots, or like, even like, would you?
No, we would have went if we get to redo. Like you're saying, let's redo the last 3 picks. Is that what you're saying? What would it look like? It's for sure Higgins.
Yep.
I say it's Higgins, it's Kenny G, and then whoever falls out of these tight ends, maybe Tanyan or Higbee.
So you would continue to push the Russell Wilson.
Yes.
See, I don't.
No. Sorry. Take it back. Sorry. Yes, you are correct. You are correct. So Russ would have been in the 6th. Yeah,
Russ in 6.
Higgins would have been in the 5th.
5. Mm-hmm.
And that's even nicer, right?
Well, I think that's the thing. I think that, and again, we belaboring it, but I think the ultimate takeaway, right, was I think that 5th round pick really affected what we did in 6. Now, I think that the 7th round pick, I think, is one of Higbee, Thomas, Tanyan, Fant, Goddard, or Irv Smith.
Either way, it ends up that way.
That is going to be a purple slot regardless. I really think what happened with the Dak pick there was I think it set us back for 6. Mm-hmm. So if there's any negative spot in the draft, I only think it's 6. Because I don't think Dak in a vacuum is a bad pick. I think that
not based on the information that we had.
Yeah. I think that the only slot where we truly, like, if you look at the board, I think that the
6.
only slot that was a miss was in 6. I think we could have done either from making prior decisions. I think it could have been different. I think in the moment decisions, I think could be different. But I think in general, the 5th pick, fine. 7th pick was going to be purple regardless. I think 6 was really what got affected by all the decisions around us.
So in conclusion to like what I was going to suggest to you is, and it's funny that you point out 6, because when you think back to where we were at 6, it was you and I scrambling because we thought we were going to get online to discuss it and have all this time. And we let the clock get to the last, we were literally
5 minutes.
We were literally down to minutes. And I was just like, we were going to take Thomas. And then that was the other thing is we were 5 minutes left and I'm like, bye weeks, so we just kind of threw a tight end in there. So our mistake was definitely the 6. What I'm saying is, let's maybe if we see we're not going to make it on video and there's like an hour left, maybe that's when we start making our decisions, so that we take a good look at it and we don't end up with another Tyler Higbee in the 6th round.
Yes. Yep.
But having said that, look, we still have this strong start. We still have, God, let's hope, knock on wood, that Dak is good. And, even if he misses a game, like I'm not really worried about that. It's still a really strong start with the Dallas Seahawks kind of intertwined and stacking. Yes, it would have been nice, as we've just spent the last, we said these things would be 10 minutes. We're at over a half hour. Like we just hashed out, there are better ways that we could have gone, but with what we have, we're not dead in the water. Like I do believe that we're fine. What this allows us to do now at tight end, if we want, is to not even worry about the position again. We can, right? I actually like I don't hate the idea of having multiple tight ends if they fall at good value, because sometimes you're better off taking a tight end and tight end premium versus like a, you know, fourth or fifth receiver on his team. But this gives us this, and that's kind of what we had decided by coming back with another tight end in the 7th round, was it gives us the freedom now to say, okay, let's focus on, you know, receiver, running back. We'll pick up a second QB whenever we see it's fit, that it fits. But that was kind of the logic. Anything to add on the double tight end move here?
No, I'm with you. I mean, my first reaction was, okay, this is fine. We'll just, everything you said. No, 2, we're locked in. I don't think we need to worry about it. If you think about it, we probably have to find one more quarterback slot, but then the rest of our remaining picks can be running backs and wide receivers. And then if that value falls, if we get a good option and we're left with gross options at running back, wide receiver, I think it's an easy pick for the tight end. So anyways, exactly as you said, I just wasted everybody's time by adding 30 seconds to it.
Oh, it's all good, man. It's all good. Look, we Sunday morning, we just finally squeezed this bad boy in, and we went 35 minutes. So we appreciate, guys. If you're watching right now, we see a bunch of you guys watching. Smash the like. That really helps the channel. Make sure you're subscribed. The guests keep coming, man. We had Chad Schroeder on, probably the winningest fantasy football player on the planet, on the GOAT District, on Friday night. Andrew's been dropping shows like crazy, doing, spending all his hard-earned cash and winnings to entertain you guys with his drafts on Half Milli Billies. And hopefully you guys are enjoying this series that will keep dropping as we proceed through this draft. Anything to add, Andrew?
No, that's it. Well, that's not it. We've got a hurricane pending. We have a main event review show at some point today or tomorrow. We're going to go through draft board that I put up with I put up on Twitter, but Theo kind of interviewed me as we go through. And you helped with this. We're never going to get him, but you helped with this. I saw Silva was in the draft, which I didn't realize at the time. And we shot our shot. We did like a Kobe Bryant in the 2008 NBA Finals, 2009 NBA Finals, going 6 for 24, winning the MVP, but still shooting his shot. And so we'll see if that works out, which it definitely won't. But I'm glad you helped tag team that with the triple dog dare gif. So that was helpful.
Man. Hey, when this, especially the big dog, the Evans is if you can wheel that, and you managed to get the ship chasing. I keep saying chip for some reason. Ship chasing, guys, and look, well done, man. That was a great episode, guys. If you missed it, go check it out. By far our most viewed show. You don't want to miss that one.
Awesome. All right, thanks, JD. This was great.
Happy Sunday, man. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll see you guys on here soon.
Yeah, we'll be on the clock in a couple hours, I'm sure.
Awesome.
I'd see
awesome.
Go District. Bleed, I ball. Bleed, I ball. Bleed, I ball. Bleed, ball, and I bleed, I ball. Bleed, I ball. It's the Go District, y'all. I ball, cause I bleed, hey. Bleeding, I ball, defeated the odds, didn't see him at all. JD in the pods, I needed it all. I bleeded a lie, you bleeded a lie, not bleeded a lie. And that's what I go do. Facts, let me show you. Happen to know dudes drafting, they don't do bad and they don't lose. Make you wanna bleed. It's the Go District, boys giving you the business and no gimmicks. The best ball drafts got me feeling like it's Christmas. Then it's Christmas all of a sudden, and these riches came from nothing. And I got this all from loving the district. See, I just drafted, forget it. I laughed at the critics, they mad at the digits. I clap back by listening. See, BALLiN ain't a problem if you kick it with them off. And I refresh the feed till autumn, then I bleed, go.
All right, buddy.